This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, so what we want to try to do today is to finish up this in-class problem. The in-class problem provides a guide for your project. And so if we can get the in-class problem done, then you have a guide for your project. We're going to try to get most of it done today, but each team will be responsible for sending me in the complete problem. Now, everybody's working on it, so you have to pull those things together uh, and make sure that your team has this problem completely worked so it becomes a guide. And so that has to be, finalized on Tuesday. On next Thursday, each team will submit the sales budget for the project. So see, I'm doing it in parts. You will submit the sales budget, uh, and that'll be graded as a quiz separately. Then the following Tuesday, I will probably meet with each team for 15 minutes and review their full first year. So the team leader would have worked on that, and then I'll meet with each team to see how your first year looks. In terms of the grading this year, parts 1 and 2, 50 points. That's all team based. Parts 3 and 4, that 50 point is based on your submission of your part of the project. So is all of that clear?
Roger that.
Okay. So this is the problem. Does everybody have this problem up? Master budget in class problem 1. And as we work this problem, so let me move it over. The first thing we want to do is to come in here and calculate our quantity solution for break even. And let's assume that our selling price multiple is 5. Let me just assume that it's 5. So for raw material 1, which is the paper, excuse me, the ink, it says what?
50.
5 ink cartridges at 10. And so we'll go back over this later, but this has to be, you need this assumption. But when you do the calculation on the next submission, I want to see quantity and unit cost because you got to make sure you're consistent with your assumptions, with these calculations, and then with the scale. And so right now we say that's 50. Our second raw material is the paper, and that's how much? 7 reams at 7. So that's what?
$49.
49. What's our labor?
$1 or I'm sorry. Hold
Yeah, $1.
on. One.
You do
One.
you do
Yeah,
20
I'm correct.
books per hour at
Yeah.
$20. So that's 1. And so what I've had you calculate, let's see, that should be here. So you're adding up now the total product cost. So you add these up, what do you get?
Total. The product variable cost?
Yeah,
100 is
okay,
50 plus
100.
49 plus 1.
And your selling price multiple was 5. So your selling price, which I already gave you, is what?
500.
$500. Now the bad debt expense is going to be 10% of the 500. So we have to get the product variable cost first. Then we apply the multiple to get the selling price. Now we're ready to get bad debts and selling expense. So bad debt is 10% of the selling price, 50. Selling expenses, 20% of the selling price, 100. So the total variable cost is 100 plus 50 plus 100. So what's the total variable cost?
100 plus 50 plus 100, 250.
It's 250.
No, I'm
So what?
sorry. Total variable cost three. It'll be 300. Not the one. You said 150 plus 50 plus. Oh, yeah, that's 250 now. 200, 300. Yes, sir.
Wait a minute. Now it's best not to change. You
Also,
had
the
100.
bad debt. Mm-hmm.
Then we add bad debt and we add the selling expense. 100 plus the 50 plus the 100 is what? Isn't that 250?
Yes, sir.
So what's our contribution margin going to be?
250.
250.
Okay, so the contribution margin is 250. So are we clear on what we did? So I've got you calculating a product variable cost. And as you calculate that product variable cost, you didn't go up and get the selling price. I've given it to you, but that's how we would get it because you'd have a multiple and you'd multiply it times the product variable cost. And then you apply your bad debt and selling expense percentages, 10%, 20%. And here we are at the contribution margin. Any questions? Let's see if we can pull out the fixed expenses. The manufacturing overhead was 100,000 for the whole year. So manufacturing overhead is going to be 100,000. So all we're concerned here with is the total amount. Then as we get back over here for administrative expense,
Admin expenses 200,000. Okay.
100,000, 200,000. And how much is the interest expense? We
100,000.
100,000. So we add these together. So the total fixed cost is what? What is our total fixed cost?
400,000.
1.6 million. Oh, you said total fixed cost. Hold on.
Add these four
It's
numbers
for
together.
it's
Yeah, four.
400,000. This is the same problem y'all did last class, Professor Boyd.
Same problem. Same problem.
Okay,
Mm,
because last time you put manufacturing overhead for 200,000, and the
Yeah,
number
I
came
went
out.
off 200,000.
Yeah, so the quantity was different compared to what it's
Okay.
gonna be
Okay.
now.
Okay.
Yeah, the FC was 500,000.
I knew it looked different.
Yeah, the quantity was because the quantity that you came up with last time was 2,000, but this one gonna be 1,600.
correct.
Okay. So let's go to 1600 then, since that works with the data. Okay. So we're at 1600. Any questions? What are we going to do with the $1,600?
Don't we put it on our product, um, the budget one, the first one, or no?
What's the first budget?
Oh, is it the sales?
Sales budget is the first budget. So we're going to come in here and put So we're gonna come in here and put this uh this in here.
It's weird on the Excel thing that you had.
Yeah.
So well,
Yeah, I just made my own.
that's fine. Uh,
So we're
something
going
got
down the product budget, correct?
say
I
what?
mean, we putting this
This,
in the production budget, correct?
no, not yet. Production budget is here. Let me just see if I can insert. So this becomes the sales schedule here. And you can always change up. Uh, you can always go and change up a spreadsheet. It's just a guide. Let's see. Center. Okay. Does that look a little better? And we need a quantity in here. So I
Yeah.
don't need selling price, quantity. I'm gonna put total sales here. And you can change it, but I'm gonna put quantity on the first line. Now let me put quantity on the second line. So quantity is on the second line, and these will be the sales percentages by quarter. So in this problem, what were the sales percent by quarter? For the first quarter, it was what?
10%,
10%. Second
and then
quarter,
20%,
third quarter,
30%,
fourth quarter.
40%. And then for totals, do we put 100%?
Yes, that would be a good one. So 100% goes here. And we said the quantity in total was how much?
1,600?
It's going to be 1,600. So if this is 1,600, what did we sell in the first quarter?
160?
Okay, so we got 160 the first quarter. Second quarter,
320?
third quarter,
480?
fourth quarter.
640?
So, and then we'll make this our selling price. Now, selling price in this problem was how much?
500?
$500. So that's going to be true all the way across.
And then with totals, do we put 2,000 or we put 500?
Wait a minute, say that again.
For the totals, it's 2,000?
No, it's 500.
Okay.
So 500 times 160 is what?
80,000?
And all of these sales are what? They're all credit sales. What's our bad debt going to be?
8,000.
8,000, which is 10%.
Yeah,
Our
10%.
collections in the month of sale are what?
32,000.
I got 32,000. That's what? 40%.
Uh, 40% of the 80,000.
Okay.
What a 40? How you get the 40% number though?
That's the
It say it
assumption.
on there.
Oh, it said on there. Okay, I see. Okay, collection month of sales for. Okay, I got you. Okay.
And we don't have a collection month after in this first year. So this is zero. So our total collections is 32,000.
Yeah.
What you gonna do with the 32,000?
You gonna put it on your next
Gonna put it right here on this cash
The
budget.
cash budget.
And our beginning cash balance is what? How much?
200,000.
200,000.
And the cash budget way at the bottom.
Because everything above it comes on there. So we've got 232,000 available. What we got to determine is put all these disbursements in and see if we need to borrow money the first year. Got it? So y'all, so all these other budgets go on there. Now, what happens in the second quarter on the sales budget? Total sales are going to be what?
160,000.
All credit sales. So what's our bad debt going to be?
16,000.
What our collection is going to be?
64,000.
That's what 40% of 160, so 64,000.
Mhm.
Then we're going to collect what?
And then aren't we supposed to put the 40,000?
Right, 50% of that prior quarter.
Yeah.
We didn't collect it, so 40,000 comes down here.
Mhm. And we add those two numbers for our total, right?
Correct. How much did we add them?
Mm. 104,000. Hell yeah.
What we're going to do with the 104?
Uh, with the 104, you gonna
Goes
let
to
it
cash
all
budget,
the way
right?
down. Yeah.
Right.
Cash
Okay.
budgets.
So we're continually building that up. We're going to finish the sales budget because you've got to do this on next Thursday for your project. So total sales in the third quarter is what?
Let me scroll up. Total sales.
240,000.
Two. Yeah, 240.
The credit sales are 240. Bad debts are 10% of that, or what?
24,000.
How
How much we gonna collect?
96,000.
Which is what? 40% of this number, 40% of the 240. So that's 96,000.
Mhm.
Then we got to collect what?
The 80,000.
80, that 50% of this 160 that's still, that we didn't collect before.
Mhm.
We add them together, and how much do we have?
176,000.
What we're gonna do with the 176?
Take it to the cash balance.
And of course,
Dr. Boyd,
yes,
it's safe to say once we get our first quarter that our collections on on the next couple of on the next the 50% collection on the next 2 quarters are going to be that amount, or is it usually like that?
So that again, you collecting from the prior quarter,
Right,
50% of 8, which is
right.
40. 50% of
Okay,
one
okay.
six, 80. All right, so you all ought to be able to finish up the fourth quarter, right?
Yeah.
Y'all go do the fourth quarter. Tell me what it looks.
Mhm. Oh, were you asking for the numbers?
Yep.
Oh, my bad, my bad. Uh, which one? What you need?
What are the total sales in the fourth quarter?
Oh, total
40%.
sales. Three 20,000.
Be 320,000. We simply multiplying 500 times 640. They're all credit sales.
Mhm.
So therefore, the bad debt's going to be what?
32,000.
How much are we collecting?
128,000.
How much are we collecting from the prior quarter?
120,000.
So the total collections of what?
248,000.
40% of 3, 50% of 3. It's 160. 50%. Dr. Boyd, I keep getting confused. So is it 50% of our total sales
From the prior quarter,
from the
we
prior
had
quarter?
80,000 in the first quarter. Okay, you see the
Hmm.
80,000 first quarter. We only collected 40%. Then we got the other 50% the next quarter.
Okay.
When we had the 160, the same thing. We only got 40%. Then we got the other 50% a quarter over. So you sliding over the 50% every year. You didn't have a 50% in this first quarter because this is the first, the first quarter. Do you see that now?
Hmm.
See it now, Chris?
Yes, I see.
Are there any questions about anyone? So let's go ahead and put 248. This would be the total here. Now, the other thing that you've got to do, so that's giving us the amount for the cash budget, but we've got to prepare an income statement and a balance sheet, and we prepare that by making journal entries. We prepare that by making journal entries. So what I'm suggesting you make your journal entries right here on the side by these accounts. You see, it's got these JEs by these total numbers. So the first number is we started the cutting with 200,000. So we're gonna debit cash 200,000. Credit common stock 200,000. That's your initial amount. Then for the sales, we should have a debit to account receivable here. credit to sales. That amount is what? What should that amount probably be? Total sales, 800,000. So now we're using this total column. So this is 800,000. So it's kind of like with closing entry. We have them right by where the number's coming from. Then we have the bad debt expense. I'll come back to cost of goods sold in a second. The bad debt expense, add them up, they're what? 80,000, 10%. So we're going to debit bad debt expense, 80,000. Credit the allowance for bad debts, 80,000. These journal entries don't change. Then what about this journal entry? What amount's going to go here, you think? What number do you think might go here? When we look over here, CB 560, so that, this kind of telling us the number that's going in that journal entry. 560. Okay. Now, remember when you sell an item, you always got to have what? A journal entry for cost of goods sold and finished goods. So how many did we sell? 1,600, correct? And we're going to multiply that by something, which is the product labor cost. We go back up here. The product labor cost was what? Payroll cost 100.
Was it 100?
100. So we're going to multiply, in this case, by 100. And so we're going to debit COGS for 160,000.
So
Is
you
that
just
100?
always,
Go ahead.
I was saying, so you always just multiply the, what it
Quantity
was.
sold times that product variable cost.
Okay.
That's why I separated it out for you, the product variable cost. That's what will be left in inventory. So what's 1,600 times 100?
160,000 or
I'm gonna take your word for it. 160, comma 000. So this is your first set of journal entries that you've got to make. So you got to have this on your project on Thursday.
Mr. Boyd, can you zoom in on your screen?
Want me to zoom in?
Yeah, because I did all the things except for the journal entries.
Now you should also be, I guess I'm zooming, but you should be able to adjust your screen somewhat too. Does everyone see these journal entries? Now, in the journal entries you got to make are all listed. They're all listed in that insert, that handout. They don't change. You just got to put the amounts down, okay? Any questions? So these are the first set of journal entries you're making. Now we only invest the first year, so that doesn't repeat, but these other journal entries repeat each year. Okay? So we only do an investment one time unless you make a different assumption. So that's what we do with the sales budget. Any questions on any of this? First, we put in these percentages from the assumptions. Then we put the quantities and allocate them across. Then we apply our selling price to come up with total sales and credit sales. Then bad debt collections. Are there any questions? So hopefully you see, why I wanted to get this guide developed. This is your guide. Your problem needs to look exactly like this, your project. And so this is the break-even year, but when you do your project, you got a loss of 100, break-even, million, 2 million, and 3 million, depending on the number of people on your team. Any questions? Everybody's quiet. Okay, let's move to the production budget. With the production budget, we do not have any journal entries to make. We're trying to determine how much we've got to produce. So this should be total here. First, the first thing we got to produce is what we sell. So we're going to go up here and get these quantities, copy them, and put them here. Okay, that's the first thing we do. We bring down the amounts from the sales budget and we put them here. Now, if you go to our assumptions, it says our desired inventory is 50% of next month's sales, okay? 50% of next month's sales. So we got to make 160 plus half of these. So we got to make another 160. So the total we got to produce the first quarter is 320. We don't have any prior amounts there. So units to be produced is 320. So you got to produce what you selling plus half of what you got to sell the next quarter. You can't come in that next quarter without an inventory. Any questions? So we're pulling back
Yeah.
the other way. Yes.
Uh. So it would be 160 throughout the whole.
No. Let's go to the second quarter where you're selling 320. You now need 50% of this number to 480. So you need a 240 here now. So you're kind of doing what we did before, but you pulling back. Before you were coming this way you're going back the other way. And so when we do that, the total is 560. But we already had made 160 in the previous quarter. So all you got to produce in the second quarter is 400. Okay? You got to produce 400. Let's go to the third quarter. We got to make 480 plus half of the fourth quarter, which is what? 320. Now, excuse me, 480. Did I put these things in here right? 160, 320, 480. 640. So we got to make the 480, then we got to make half of 640. So what's half of 640? That's 320, right?
Mm-hmm.
So 480 plus 320 gives us what? 800.
800.
Then we already got 240 in inventory. And so now the units to be produced in this third quarter is 560. Now let's go to the fourth quarter. We got this 640, okay, in the fourth quarter. Kind of jumped over on us. So the 640 is what we're selling in that fourth quarter. But we also need 50% of the first quarter of the next year. We need 50% of the first quarter of the next year. So where are we going to get that number from?
Is it 480?
What I need you to do is to come up here and give me a quantity for the $1 million year. Give me a quantity for the $1 million year. I say you have,
For the million, I got 6,000.
well, use these numbers. Remember that this total fixed cost is 400. So if you're calculating
5600.
how much?
5600.
Sounds good. It's 5,600. So your sales quantity next year for the whole year is going to be 5,600. Okay, so for the whole year, that total I put it over here be 5,600.
So wait, Mr. Boyd, we're not using the 500 for the FC no more?
No, we said we're using the 400. Yeah, that's how we got the 1,600. So that's why this is 1,600 and not 2,000. So just make the adjustment for that. And I just wanted us to be on 10 and 20%. And somehow I don't know how that got in there. So, we're just making the correction on that. So if 5,600 is going to be sold for the whole year, how many are going to be sold in the first quarter of year two?
560.
560, which is 10%.
And then you take half
So
of that,
we got to take half of that. So what would that be?
280.
That'll be 280. So now we have what? 920 we need to make. But we already got what? 320 in inventory. So the amount in the fourth quarter that we will make will be 600.
600.
Any questions? What are we going to do with these numbers?
Use them for your raw material uh quantities and stuff.
Okay. So we're gonna copy them now. And for raw materials, they become the first number units to be produced. So we're going to do that for both raw materials. and we're going to do it for direct labor. So hopefully you see now, that importance of that calculation. If you calculate the quantity incorrect, then your sales budget is going to be incorrect. Then your production budget is going to be incorrect. And then all of these raw material budgets and labor budgets are going to be incorrect. But we're going to calculate them correct, right? Okay, let's look at raw materials Inc. What is our per unit requirement?
5.
So once again, this has to be consistent. So how many raw materials do we need to buy?
320 times 1600.
That'll be 1,600. What's our unit cost?
10.
So the total cost is going to be what?
16,000.
It's going to be 16,000. Payment in the month of purchase, we said we pay
12,000.
75%, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So that's going to be what?
12,000.
Okay. We don't have any payment following because this is the first one, but that's going to change later. So our total payments is 12,000. What are we going to do with the 12,000?
Cash budget.
We're going to take the 12,000 to the cash budget. So our first payment is 12,000. So let's just see if we can finish raw materials paper. So I meant ink. So that per unit requirement of 5 is going to go all the way across, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So how much we buying in the second quarter?
2,000.
2,000. Unit cost is what?
10.
10. What's our total cost?
20,000.
How much we paying?
15,000.
But we also are paying what?
4,000 from the last year.
4,000 left
Last
over.
quarter.
So we add the 4 and the 15 together and we get what?
19.
So the 19,000 is going to go here as a payment. And of course, you should be, writing your formulas to copy those automatically. Let's go on to the third quarter. So 560 times 5, how many we going to need?
2,800.
Unit cost.
10.
What's our total cost now?
28,000.
How many we paying for?
2,100.
Then we got to pay the balance from this quarter, which would be what?
5,000.
5,000. It was 20. We paid 15 earlier. So this is 5,000. So our total cost, our total payments now in this third quarter is 26,000. And we're going to take the 26,000 and what?
Cash budget.
Put it on the cash budget, 26,000. Now let's go to the fourth quarter for ink. And the fourth quarter was 600 times 5. So how many we need? Got 3,000,
3,000.
$10 here,
Put us at 30,000.
30,000. How much of the 30,000 we paying?
75%. So 22,500.
22,500. Then we gotta what? Come back here and pay what?
That's 7,000.
7,000. And so the total is what?
29,500.
29,500. And of course, we're gonna take that 29,500 and put it in journal entries to make. So I went through all of it so we can, look at the journal entries. And let's see. The raw materials purchase, that's the quantity. So we need the total cost. Let's see if I can. So our total purchases were what, 94,000? And we paid 86,500. Is that correct? Hopefully it is. Okay. Let's look at our first journal entry that we're going to make here. We've got to buy the raw materials. So if you bought the raw materials ink, what journal entry did you typically make? You debited RM ink. What did you always credit? Put these over. Accounts payable. Now and we got our number here, 94,000. So I moved it around a little bit, but you know, you put them here so you be close to them. So this is your next journal entry, 94,000. So you debiting raw materials, 94,000. Crediting the ink, 94,000. And we need another journal entry, right? And that's the journal entry where we make those payments. So we're going to be debiting accounts payable. What are we crediting? You pay somebody. Cash typically, and that's the 86,500. Are there any questions on what we just did? So we get these totals, and then we put the totals in the journal entries. Let's go over the ink so we can get the first quarter, for paper. What's the per unit requirement for paper?
Is it 7?
I think it was 7. So how many we got to buy for the paper?
2,240.
What's our unit cost for the paper?
7.
So what's our total cost going to be?
15,680.
15,680. How much of that we paying?
11,760.
11,760. We don't have anything here in the first quarter. And that won't be the case in the second year. So it's 11,760. So now let's take the 11,760. You'd have to finish that out and then make those same journal entries. Yeah, you'd finish it out, and those same two journal entries you made for the ink, you'd make them for the paper. Okay? Let's go to direct labor, and our per unit requirement is what?
20.
It's 20. So how many hours the worker's gonna work?
16.
16 hours, and we pay them what?
20.
20 an hour. So the total payment to the workers is gonna be what?
320.
320. So we're gonna go ahead and take that down, put a 320 here. Now going back to the journal entries, because we are making everything and we don't have anything left, let's just put it in finished goods from the beginning. So I'm gonna make this finished goods ink. So when you get here, you're gonna have when you get to the paper, you're gonna have that same entry, but it's gonna be finished goods. And I don't need the ink in here. I just need finished goods. So we're gonna put it all in finished goods when we buy. So you're gonna have finished goods uh, and accounts payable again. Once you finish the chart, then you're gonna have accounts payable. You're gonna have slash cash. When we're working on this direct labor budget, because there's nothing in work in process, we're gonna debit finished goods again. And we're going to credit cash. So that keeps them having to just to transfer the working process and then on and on. So this is so once you get your totals here, then that's what's going to go in that journal entry. Let's go to manufacturing overhead. How much
The 25,000.
and the depreciation was 10,000. So you've only got to pay 15,000. Now manufacturing overhead is pretty easy. We can copy it, paste it here, paste it here, paste it here. Then we can auto sum all of these. Then we can make a journal entry And we'll do the same thing with administrative expense. But this journal entry is going to be a debit to MOH and a credit to cash and a credit to accumulate depreciation. The MOH total would be the 100,000. Cash is that 60,000, and accumulated depreciation is the 40,000. So what you're showing is that you don't have to pay 100,000. Bar based on that, you only got to pay 60. And did we put that 60,000 down here? Okay. And you could take that 60 all the way across. So we can copy it. Okay. Let's move to selling expenses. First thing on selling expenses, we paying a commission rate of 20%. So we go to the sales budget and we just copy all of these sales. Hopefully they're gonna copy. They will copy. They did. So what's 20% of 80,000? Is that maybe 16,000?
Yeah, 16.
So that's 16,000. We put 16,000 here. But administrative expense, oh, we got manufacturing overhead correct this time, don't we? 100, yeah. The administrative expense was how much? Per quarter, it was what? 50,000, wasn't it?
50,000.
We would take that all the way across too. Now I'll let you do that. The depreciation was 10,000. So your total payment is 40,000. That would repeat all the way across, but I'll let you do it so you'll be familiar with it. Then we got the long-term note. Well, we got a long-term note, Kayvon.
100,000 for.
How much equipment we bought?
Oh, you talking about equipment? I don't think we got any. Hold on.
And we buy $1 million worth of equipment.
Yeah, $1 million.
So we use the long-term note to buy it. So no impact on cash. But our principal payments each period is what? 100,000. That would go across, and our interest payment was 25,000. And so we put 100 for the note and 25,000 for the interest. So our total payment's going to be what? We start here, auto sum down.
Is it 220,080?
Uh, 220,080.
Yeah.
That's 265.80, but I think the 220.80 is correct. Let me clear the contents. I may have gone down too far. How much did you have? Because I think your number is correct.
Wait.
220.80 is correct. I don't know why it jumped 12,000, 760, 320. Let's look at this manufacturing overhead for a second.
Yeah, I got 15,000. You got 60,000.
Right, that I think the full amount should be 15,000. I don't know how they got it in
Oh,
there.
okay. Because I was
It'd
say,
be
oh shit.
15,000. So this should be 15,000.
Yeah, then your answer is your total is 220,080.
This should, I think I just put the total amount in. So how much money did we have to spend? How much money did we have available to spend?
11,920.
I think we had 232,000. Okay, we had 232. Our expenses are 220,080. So we had excess cash of what? 11,920. That's what you're saying, correct?
Yeah.
But our ending cash has to be at least what? 100,000. How much we got
Yeah.
to borrow?
88,080.
88,080. Are there any questions? Can each team now go finish this? We've done most of it. We've got the first quarter in each case. The journal entries, they're listed. Like this is selling expense and credit cash. This will be administrative expense, credit cash, and blah, blah, blah. So they're all there. Can you all finish this? What do you have
Yes, sir.
questions on? Let me know what you have questions on so that I can expect you to have each team to have this done next class period.
Professor Board, I stepped out for a second, but I sent you an email regarding my question. It was about the cash budget.
Uh-huh.
If you go down to the end, like when it says beginning balance for like quarter two, do we start off
Right.
with the end balance from the last quarter?
Right. So this will
Okay.
be 100.
Okay, so it'd be 100,000. Okay.
So that's correct. Whatever is down here moves up here. Now this number will always be 100,000 at least. It can be more, but it can't be less than 100,000. Okay, because
Okay.
we're borrowing, so it will be at least that. So what I want you to do is to come across and finish the schedules. Can each team finish all of the schedules now? Can each team finish all of the schedules?
Yes, sir.
Ashley, did team one finish all of these schedules?
Yes.
Team two, James?
Yeah, I got it.
Team three?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Team four?
Yeah, we could.
Team five?
Yes.
Oh, that was weak. Team six?
Oh yeah, I'm good. Hey, you said for
Okay, we
the
got
so
it.
the end of balance, the end of balance will become the beginning balance. So the
Right.
quarter, you said it's always gonna be 100,000, right? The end of
Got to
balance
be at
always gonna be
least
100.
It could be more, but it's going to be at least 100.
All right, got
So what I want you to do is this, and it should not, we've done most of the work late, most things out. So you're just finishing schedules. This is an hour's worth of work at most to finish the schedules and get your cash budgets done. Okay. Then you got to do the journal entries. And so these journal entries are pretty straightforward. These. Let's see, what is this here? Selling expenses. You simply going to debit selling expense and credit cash. Debit SA, credit cash. When you get to the what's the next one here? Administrative expenses. It's just like MOH. You're going to debit the administrative expense. And you're going to credit cash. And you're going to credit accumulate depreciation. And then for the capital expenditure budget, you're going to have one entry. You're working with the total columns. You're going to debit equipment and credit note payable. For that, was it 1 million? And then you got to get your total interest and principal payments, and you're going to debit note payable. You're going to debit interest expense for your total and credit cash. Those journal entries, you just got to get your totals and put them in. Can everybody do that? So I don't want a team to miss out on those 20 points. Maness, can you handle this?
Yes.
Okay, so Manessa's out golfing somewhere, but see, she's diligent. She comes on. She's in the morning class, but she's making sure she's taking care of her team responsibility. So if she can handle it out golfing somewhere, and since you all are all here in the comfort of your home, she's in a hotel room somewhere. You all should be able to handle this and get this done. So once you make the journal entries, what you gonna do with them? Okay, Vaughn, what you gonna do with the journal entries once you make them?
you. So what I'm gonna do with the journal entry whenever I make them.
After you get them all made,
Are you gonna post them to the
Yeah,
balance sheet
yeah.
you're gonna post them to the
The
ledger.
balance sheet
ledger?
or the T account. The
Then
T
you're gonna
account.
get a trial balance. Then you're gonna get an income statement on the balance sheet.
Yeah.
Now, the one thing I want to see, and this is very important, when you get a net income on your income statement, what is this supposed to be? I'll stay down here. When you get a net income on that income statement, what should the amount be after you go through, make these journal entries, post to the ledger and everything? What should that net income be?
Wasn't this the break even one?
Yep.
So it should be broken even, a zero.
Yep. The net income after you make all these journal entries to your trial balance should be zero. And then the cash, see this cash here? It's got to agree with this ending balance of cash in the fourth quarter. So whatever number you got here, that has to be the same as this on your balance sheet. They have to agree. So those are your check things. So once you make your journal entries on this problem and then do your trial balance and you do your income statement, your net income should be zero and your cash has to equal whatever that cash is in the fourth quarter on the cash budget. So that's when you know you're finished. So you're looking at what you got to do for your project now. You got to do the same thing for that first year team leaders. And that's 100,000 loss year. And those same things apply. If you say you got 100,000 loss in the first year, then I need to see a loss of 100,000. And if you got a certain amount of cash in that fourth quarter on the cash budget, that's the cash amount that has to be on your trial balance and balance sheet. If you don't have that, you know you did something wrong.
Did you give us a MOH or a fixed cost already?
No, let me just see if
Okay.
I can find that master budget. And where am I at? You have in course content. If I can find it now. Project Part 2. Where is it at? Oh, Project Part 2. Okay. Here's Project Part 2. And here your fixed costs. You got to determine what your equipment is going to be. Okay. You got to determine what equipment you need to. And I put a 3D print in here just in case. But some of your equipment is for manufacturing overhead, some of it is for administrative. When you buy this equipment, you're going to use 5-year straight line to get your depreciation expense. Okay, that's how you get your depreciation expense. Then you're going to add your notes payable together, total notes payable, and take 10%. That's going to be your interest expense. So that's how you're getting the interest expense. And that'll be the same. For your MOH, you got a production manager, supplies. So for your industry and what you're making, you got to fill these in and use fringe benefits of 25%. Check financial statements in the industry that you're in and bill your MOH. Administrative expenses, you're billing this. What's the what's president gonna make? What's CFO? Office salary, supplies, fringe 25%, tax depreciation. You got to put in all of these things for your business and then come up with the total fixed cost for year 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. First year, your fixed costs got to exceed 200,000. After that, 400, 600, a million, and anything after that is a million. That is, it's not going to look good if your fixed costs stay the same with your activities going up. So you got to increase your fixed costs, but they can stay at a million for years 5 and 6 or however many years you have. So you're using this to come up with your fixed costs. These are your numbers. I'm just giving you the minimum. The per unit requirements and unit costs for a number of you on what you are submitting, and so I couldn't see that. I couldn't tell it. So I'm asking you now because a lot of time the problem comes in. You got one per unit requirement here in unit cost. You got something different on those schedules. And if they differ, because you determine the quantity based on what's over here, then you're not gonna get you'll break even $100,000 loss number. So when you do part two, this is in there. You got these columns. I want to see for your benefit and protection the per unit requirement and unit cost. Then these items go on those raw material schedule. Is that clear to everyone? Is that clear? So I put these extra 2 columns in here. That's on project part 2. So you're completing this schedule, which is similar to what you just did, but you need to be clear on what the per unit requirement is in unit cost. I did not see that all the time when I was looking. Even again, I didn't see it. Then here's your fixed costs. Then here are your assumptions, and these are yours based on the document, that practice problem. You can use like how much you selling, how you paying, all that. You can use those same things, but those are your assumptions, so you got to put them in here. So you can copy that sheet, put it in here, and put your assumption in here. How much you selling, and all that. So this is your project. So you need to put a lot of time in advance. So I want this practice problem completed along with part 1. Let's just say by Tuesday. Practice problem and your part 2 by Tuesday. Then on next Thursday, as a 20% quiz, I want to see the sales budget for the first year for your project. I want to see the sales budget. Then the following Tuesday, I'll meet with each team for 15 minutes. I want to see the first year done. So I'll meet with each team by themselves, and they will show me their first year. At that point, with the first year done, then the team leader turns over the other years to the other people on the team, and they begin to work to add those other years. So the team leader is responsible for getting the first year done. They get it done correct, they can exempt the final exam.
Ooh.
You just got to get it right, though. It can't be, I helped somebody, but then mine wasn't right. I helped this other guy.
Wow, you gonna do me like that? I just helped you today.
I'm not gonna
Wow.
get that one. But team leaders, I'm actually expecting you all to get it done right and exempt. The second person up should be somebody else who's trying to exempt. If you got somebody on your team who got an A average, they say they want to exempt, you tell them to go and do the year 2 and have it to me by Thursday of following week of class. So somebody else wants to exempt. And you got to have your projects ready for me by that Thursday. You're going to exempt. There's actually, I think that 3D printer is up, and so you gotta get your team together. And they got to figure out a way to make, I guess, an image, some kind of uh, prototype of your shoe. So if you're not making it, make that prototype. So that's fine. And we need to
But we're
use
not
the
making
3D
the
printer
shoes
anyway.
anymore.
So what?
We're not making the shoes anymore.
We're not making the shoes anymore. Oh, actually, I tell you. Kayvon, y'all still making the shoe?
Not with the 3D printer. Like we're making the shoe. That's not gonna be with the 3D printer though.
Okay, that's fine.
Like,
You
I'm gonna
do it any way you
make
want.
yeah, like an actual shoe. Yeah.
But you can always make an image with the 3D printer for extra credit in case you needed extra credit for somebody on your team. They can say, well, we're going to make an image of this because I need some extra points.
All right, I got you.
So go ahead and make it. But then if somebody on your team needs extra points, you tell them, well, you go over there and learn how to use a 3D printer. And it's a unique thing, which it should be. Learning that's where production is going, where these printers can make something. Say 3D printers can make guns now even. So that's a new technology that you want to be familiar with. Okay, any questions? I would
Yeah, Mr.
definitely
Boyd,
try.
I got a question.
Yes, Rihanna. Yes.
Okay, for the cash budget for number 4,
Cash
the
number 4.
yeah, the short-term loan. You're supposed to subtract the number, but the number is bigger.
Larger than what?
Cause okay, the ending cash balance is 100,000, but
Oh,
for number 4, it's 136,460.
that's how much cash you got available?
Mm-hmm.
Well, you don't need to borrow any money
So we just put 0.
for borrowing. Yeah, that's a good thing.
So for the loan, we put 0.
Yeah, you might even pay some back and get down to. So what you typically would do would be to, in that fourth quarter, if you had over 100, then you would attempt to uh, do a repayment on the short-term loan and still be at 100. So if you owe money, if you owe over 100, you'd have an amount in here for a repayment, so you're still at 100,000. So that's typically what you would do. Or if you don't do any repayment, then you can have it. I'll leave that up to you.
Okay.
That's a good question. That's a good question.
Yeah, because I think our project at the end in the fourth quarter is probably gonna is we're gonna have our before break even we're gonna have more than 100,000 also.
Yeah, but you got to be repaying that loan though.
Correct.
So I'm just saying, as you get into the fourth quarter, you're right. You should have money, and you should attempt to get rid of the short-term loan by the fourth year.
Okay.
Still have 100,000, of course, and then try to pay it off.
Cool.
Anything else? So does this appear to be doable now?
Yeah.
Just for
Yeah.
clarification, the team leads are doing the break even one as the
They're
first one,
doing the
right?
$100,000 loss year,
You know you're doing the target loss year.
right?
Okay. Okay.
Unless if you all just want to start with break even and move forward, that's fine too.
Okay.
You want to do that? The leaders are
Hey,
here.
I'm
Just
down for whatever. I'm waiting. We're gonna see what
I
everybody else
already
want.
did the loss though.
okay. Well, so she's done the loss, so that's fine.
Dr. Ball, we started with team three. We started with break even. I'm doing
That's
the
fine. So however
$100,000.
you want to do it. If you started with break even, that's fine. If
Okay.
you did the loss, that's fine too.
So basically,
Uh-huh.
what we're turning in next week is only the team leaders that are doing it, right?
No, that's a week
Because the
later.
first, oh,
Next week, you turning into me this demonstration problem. That's what you got for me. You got this problem completely worked out on Tuesday. I'll try to
okay,
be on at 5:30 on Monday. But you got the demonstration problem work, so you got a guide. Then on next Thursday, the team turns in the sales budget. So that's what we'll be doing in class. You'll be working on your sales budget on next Thursday.
okay,
Then the following week, with your sales budget in and right and your part two in and right, then I'll meet with the teams for 15 minutes and see how your first year went. So I'm meeting with each team for 15 minutes. So I'll schedule each team for a 15-minute segment. We'll go over your first year. And if
okay,
it's all balanced and correct, then the team leader will simply just collect from everybody else and send the other parts in. The team leader will be done. Doesn't have to do any more work.
About time.
And then the person behind them does the whatever year comes next, where this break even or 100,000
Right, they do
loss.
that, and
Yeah,
they
and
just turn
then
it in to the team leader.
mhm.
Team leader just puts that in there and goes on.
Oh, okay, okay, cool, okay.
And the demonstration work is basically what we did in class today.
Correct. You're just finishing that problem, so you would have a problem completely worked before you got to your project.
Okay.
So,
It's pretty much like a practice problem for us.
but I want
Okay.
practice problem work, and then if you got practice problem work, then as you work with your project, with your numbers and everything, you know you've done it one time. You know what it looks like. You got to get your project looking like that. So look at it. If you having any problems, then you need to be on 5:30 on Monday, and I'll try to be here. Or if it's another time or whatever, just let me know. Okay?
Mr. Void.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
So for this problem we just did, for those who finished it, we posted